Amazing. By Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on Gameday. Hurry in, coach. More Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse. And more Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. At JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
Miami Dolphins defense tonight gave the Rams no hope. Also gave them no touchdowns and gave them a garbage field goal at the very end. Miami Dolphins win. Celebration. Let's celebrate together. Call 305-567-0560. We want to hear from you. When I say we, I mean myself, Gameday, Michael Van, moderator of the song. We're going to be celebrating a Dolphins win until 1:30 tonight. Wow. What a difference. Of course, little things make, but also one single game makes everyone ready to ride out the Dolphins tonight if they lose. They say, you know what? No more. No more. This team is done. They're cooked. They're finished. They made too many mistakes. Now tonight, you look and say, hold up. Hold up. They're just a game of lost column from being a 7th seed in the playoffs. And their schedule, which we first thought was going to be really, really rough at the end, doesn't look so daunting. You get a win against the Rams, 23-15. Next week, the Raiders, who are flying pretty low, come in and play the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium. Patriots, not very good. That's the following week.
It's one game at a time. But if the team can somehow play offensively like they did the last 2 weeks and defensively the way they did this tonight, they have a shot to go on a win streak. And if they're 5-6 going into that Thanksgiving game against the Packers with a confidence in the 3-game winning streak, I think they can go on a run. But tonight, they didn't make more mistakes than the Rams.
Well, the Rams were much more sloppy.
This game is really a 10-point swing on a missed field goal.
And that was all because of a false start in the third quarter by the Rams. They actually made the field goal that was 52 yards.
Yeah, and then the false start moved it to 57, and they're still right. And the Dolphins capitalized on that missed opportunity by the Rams, and defense played such a good game. Shout out to the secondary, which was banged up. They did very well against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
All those weapons, Matthew Stafford.
And if nobody knew nationwide who 92 was, and why everybody talked about the importance of him and his importance on the defense, you saw it tonight. This game defensively by Sealer and Calais Campbell, vets,
the best players on the team this year,
and Jalen Ramsey. That was a game. That game was won defensively by your stars.
I'll tell you this: for all those people who, casually follow the NFL and say Calais Campbell's still playing, and then who's this Zach Sealer guy? They weren't saying that by the end of this game. They were saying Calais Campbell is a baller still, and this Zach Sealer, he's not a nobody that's been cut from the Ravens before, and was bolstered up by Christian Wilkins last year. We know now that Christian Wilkins is the real deal. Zach Taylor is the real deal too. This defense looked just plain nasty tonight, man. Maybe a little bit, but don't break. Gives up 5 field goals, 0 touchdowns. And by the way, this is when you knew the Rams were kind of waving the white flag. Towards the end of the game, with 38 seconds left to kick the field goal, that field goal was on 3rd down, not 4th down. And they were on their 5-yard line, meaning that they felt as though they had more hope of trying to kick a field goal, get an onside kick, and try to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion with 38 seconds left. Against that defense, Sean McVay waved the white flag. This Dolphins team all around better. And once again, we said, I don't know this, the Rams made a lot of mistakes the Dolphins have been making this year. False starts, personal fouls, throwing it to the other team, fumbling the ball away. Tonight, the Dolphins played the better game and were the better team. Hence win 23-15. Don't look now, since Tua has returned. 27 points tonight, 23 points. Want to hear from you? It's a great night. 305-567-0560. We're opening up the phone lines right now. We're going to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Neil calling from California.
Neil, great to hear from you. How's everything going tonight?
Yeah, it's a good night tonight. And, I've been pitching a lot, and I'll just say that defense won it for us tonight. That was an amazing performance. 5 field goals for that team. They got great receivers. They got a great quarterback. We shut down their run pretty much. It's just a great defensive effort. And Jason Sanders, 2 long field goals, That's awesome.
Absolutely. You got to be feeling great about that one, Neil. You're out in California behind enemy lines. This defense, is it Zach Sealer? Zach Sealer's back, and all of a sudden, it looks like a top-tier defense once again. Zach Sealer is missing the past couple of weeks because of the eye. Team gave up a lot of points. And they did play some good teams, but today they played a Rams team that have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, those sacks and batted down balls is huge.
Batted down balls. From the get-go, you saw this defense make some huge plays. Chop Robinson gets a sack for all the people been saying, where's Chop Robinson? Maybe they're just coming together, getting things going. Calais Campbell gets a tip and a pick. Finally, we get that turnover. Then you get the Zach Sealer tipping ball. Calais Campbell had 2 tips. It's just one of those things, man. And by the way, great on third down. Miami Dolphins really shut down the Rams on third down. You had to really feel like you had control of this game.
Yep. Great game. Hey, you guys have a great night. Party all night.
We're going to be trying here. We're going to be here in South Florida. We're so happy the Dolphins won. A very commanding win from the Miami Dolphins, you have to say. The defense definitely the star of the show. Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell continue to be the star of the show area, by the way. Jalen Ramsey returned to Los Angeles. He is continuing an all-pro type season. If you don't think he's going to be all-pro, it's like microphone line 305-567-0560. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Dan, this is Sean, the man that tells you to punt on the season 3 weeks ago. Listen, I can't call in when they just lose. I got to call in when they win, because if I just called in when they lose, I'd be called a hater. Okay? So let me give them credit to the defense. They dictated the game, and they imposed will. They just look better. They look fast. That's my line.
You could kind of just see Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and those guys, they had to do everything with just dink and dunk and no big plays and no enthusiasm and no excitement. Are you still playing the season? Do you believe we can make fun of the schedule ahead of us?
Look, man, I got to take one game at a time. I might be eating crow. You know what I'm saying? But, honestly, man, the team looked like they're playing like their life depended on it, and like they're playing for jobs. That's what it looked like to me.
How did you like the play calling tonight? I liked it. I thought it kind of got a little bit more of a groove tonight, especially as the game went on. I think in the third and fourth quarter for the Miami Dolphins, for the offense. I want to go to the offensive side real quick. I thought it had a little more groove than normal.
Well, yeah, man. You know what? They distribute the ball around a lot too, and hence there wasn't a whole lot of fumbles or mistakes or what. They distribute the ball. Everybody got a chance to make a play.
Yeah, that is true. Everyone did. Jonnu Smith had a big play. Our 2 additions this offseason to the offense, our weapons, Jonnu Smith and Odell Beckham Jr. came up big when they needed to. What a great catch and run by Jonnu Smith. And then Odell Beckham, maybe he hadn't been as explosive as we thought, but he made the big catch on a third down, pretty much got us down, just helped us get into field goal position. That last field goal, and we were up, what was the score, 20-12. If we got one more kick or one more point, there was no way that the Rams.
Nah, man, they was shook, man. Our defense, man. Matt Stafford was a little bit scared. They shook in the pocket, going all the pass rush. So hey, it's a good win for the defense. I'm happy they won, and hope we win next week.
From here on out, it's just one game at a time. Like Mario Cristobal says, let's go 1-0 from now on. I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. Let's just go 1-0. So next week, Raiders, let's go.
All right.
Great seeing you. Vlad, really, that's got to be the mentality now.
It's always the mentality after you coming off a losing streak like that.
As a fan, I'm talking about. You got to look at it as 1-0, man.
I don't know. It's like, you win. Remember after the Patriots victory, I told you, just it's like, I think that was late night. So, it's like, if you're in a slump, you're not, you haven't been able to connect with the ladies. You just
You got to win one.
you just need a slump buster one time. That's all you need, and then you start looking ahead. You feel better about yourself. You start feeling you have a better outlook at things, and now you're looking at the Dolphins like this. This is to his third game.
Mm-hmm.
This might have been his worst game.
He was not very sharp in this game, and very, very laissez-faire with the ball. By the
But
way,
what I would say that is very, I would be happy with the offense. Uh, you know, uh, is the fact that Odell Beckham was used more. So you have a wide receiver 3 that you possibly need to help alleviate the pressure and stress that they put on Tyreek. I don't know what's going on with Jalen Waddle. I don't know what's going on. Like that was a drop. That was a terrible drop on a third down that stopped the drive that you could have put points and really put a lot of pressure on the Rams. The defense was playing so well. Malik Washington scored the first touchdown.
yep, a good kind of little end around,
And he caught a big third down on the last drive that San hit the field goal to make it 23-12. So you have John so you can see that the other weapons are being utilized, so that helps. So that's you can be very happy with that. Going moving forward. Jalen Wright, Raheem Mostert, Achan, they ran the ball okay, but they could have ran the ball better. Um, the O line played all right. Jared Verse was busting Teron Armstead's ass.
he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player, but and they were, Austin Jackson was missing. But I don't. If I'm the Dolphins, I'd rather win games like this every week if I have to.
They're vastly different team, and every year you're a different team than you were the year before. They are not this what is it, British Go on Surf team that we had last year. We are a more controlled team. We try to run the ball a little bit more. We're a little more conservative in our passing game, and we rely on a defense. Which if they're going to play like that, Vlad, you got to say you have a chance in every single game the rest of the season. Not giving up touchdowns. They had a lot of weapons in the LA Rams. They've been getting healthy. They've been hot right now. Go in there, and the Dolphins have been in the other direction, take care of business. And, for lack of a better or worse, Vlad, maybe this Dolphins team is starting to find their footing and find their groove. Maybe it's a little too late. Maybe it's not. But tonight, you kind of saw a team make this happen. Tyreek Hill gets the second touchdown of the year. We believe this thing this season, Tyreek Hill's second touchdown. Very bad celebration. I did not like that. It's like, the Beckham Jr. Close and hurt each other. But we win. And we're going to get into some of the good and the bad of the game. But right now, we're just celebrating. We're just feeling good. And we want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. Back to phone lines. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Richie. I'm calling out of Lauderdale.
All right, Richie, what you got?
When this team looks good, they look really good. They really do. There's something that's when they're playing well, there's something very different about the team. You can kind of see it. There's a sharpness to their play. It feels like they have momentum and they believe in what they're doing. You can actually see when they're going to win as opposed to when how are we going to blow this game kind of a feel. There's a polish to it. You don't like the turnovers. You got to protect the ball. I'll take the win, and I'll take a game like this anytime. I'd love to see some swagger with them and that sharpness from the get-go like they kind of came out with today.
Richie, I want to ask you that 6:31 mark when the score was 20-12. You just made another field goal to LA Rams. Did you get that Dolphins sinking feel like, this could go real south real quick, like maybe a 3 and out or maybe a turnover, and they get the ball back and they tie the game? Or did you say, no, I'm pretty sure we got this? Pretty sure.
I was pretty. There's a sharpness when they're playing well.
Yeah.
And you could feel that they weren't going to screw this one up. They had this one. They were in control of it, and it was the Rams trying to figure out how to win and how to get back in the game. Again, I don't know what that X factor is, and I hate that term, but there's definitely a polish to them when they're on and they're rolling, and you don't have that concern.
I'm right there with you, Richie. At that point, when it was 20-12, 6:31 left, we're getting the ball back. Vlad was saying, look, just put a drive together in this game. And I said, you know what? I think if we score another point, just another point, there's no way. And I think The defense has a little bit to do with that. The defense was lights out. You felt as though getting up by 11, there's no way the Rams were going to find a way to score 11 points in however many minutes you left on the clock. And then I guess maybe that kind of trickles down to the offense. And I thought the offensive play calling had a little bit more of a groove tonight than it usually does. And maybe you're right. The defense looked better. The offense looked better. They just seemed like they were more in control. So they had that swagger. They had that je ne sais quoi, as we say, that just had this feeling that this team had it.
You can see
It really
when
came.
they're going to roll.
And you could feel that the Rams were not rolling in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Again, the Rams looked a lot like how do we get into this? How do we get where we didn't have that time? We were in control of this game, and you could feel it. Defense was sharp. Again, they had that polish. They were all over it. There was a little concern towards the end where it looked like they were going into a prevent defense, and they tightened down on it, closed it out. All in all, I'll take the win, and I'll take it every week.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford, the wily vet that he was, or he is, you could kind of tell the writing was on the wall. He just kind of threw some balls away at the very end. They kicked that field goal on 3rd down with 36 seconds left.
They had to.
Yeah, well, they had to.
No, yeah, that was.
But you would think with Matthew Stafford and all those weapons, they could find a way to get into the end zone
They
quicker
still
than
got-
that.
well,
You know?
No, they weren't. Even this was actually one of the few times where the prevent defense was actually good. Thanks for the call.
The Dolphins had the swag, man. They had it going.
They actually it was a bend but not break.
Right.
Keep everything in front of you. They weren't giving up anything deep that the Rams needed because the Rams needed a quick score and they didn't have timeout. So it was all right. They let them get down the field, but time was clicking. It wasn't like they were getting chunk plays. They were getting 10 yards of play, but was in the middle of the field. Great job by Anthony Weaver. That was a great game plan.
And it helps have that Zach Sealer back in the mix.
Yeah, it definitely does because him and 93, Calais Campbell were causing havoc. And a great job by the defense of getting the ball back to the offense after Tua's turnover.
Right. It came right. We got it right back immediately. The next play.
Immediately. And, they did think they played very well today.
Hey, let's not forget about Deshaun Hand. Deshaun Hand had some big plays for the Miami Dolphins defense tonight. But, man, you saw it right away. Calais Campbell, Zach Sealer, Deshaun Hand were in there. Of course, Jalen Ramsey make it happen. Javon Holland had a big sack in there also. Now, ball control or ball protection on both sides was pretty nasty.
Another sack by Chop Robinson.
Chop Robinson, yes, that's one of those things. This team, and once again, we get hype about one game, but it seems like over the past couple of weeks they've been getting more in their groove, and tonight they continue to stay in their groove against a team that's been hot and getting healthy and has weapons.
Here's the thing, Dan. If I told you that, okay, who was the first game? The first game was against Arizona, right?
Yes, last second loss.
Last second loss, winnable game. They were up by 10. Or up 20-10, and then they gave up the safety.
And everything went downhill from there.
Then last week against the Bills, fumble by Mostert. That was critical. So with the Dolphins and you know that they're a talented team. The Dolphins have an unbelievable amount of talent. Have they been banged up? Yes. But when all that talent's together, when they are healthy, they are a formidable team. And what you saw was that they're not a team that can live, they don't have they don't have any room for error. They don't have great room for error. They don't. Against certain, when you go against certain teams, you can make a mistake. Not to use them, but because they're a college team, but like a team like Alabama or even the Canes, because they have so much talent, they have room for error. But the Dolphins, because of what happened with them, the way they started, they didn't have room for error. So the losses to the Bills, like that, those fumbles, those critical mistakes, we got to do something about Tua and the fumbles. We have to.
Tua's ball protection tonight was questionable at best.
It was not his best game so far coming back from the concussion.
And he seemed very hesitant tonight, I felt. Held the ball a very long time.
And
even the announcer said that.
And we all know what I say. Once that man has to tap the ball more than once, bad things are gonna happen. Bad. I know I can't listen. I'm not the football player. I'm not the athlete that this man is. But please, there are things that you do for the safety of this team and this fan base, there are things to do to not petrify the fan base and the team. One of them is, yes, I know you made a turnover. You threw the ball that was intercepted. I know you want to make the play. Don't tackle with your head. Don't make a tackle. Don't make a tackle. Don't. Not with your head. Don't go low. Going with your head to make a tackle. Because bad things usually happen.
I would be okay with him pulling the Peyton Manning and acting like he doesn't know what's going on and completely staying out of the play. The guy would have gotten tackled.
Bad things happen when quarterbacks are trying to make a tackle. One, they are susceptible to get blocked and get blindsided or just get annihilated. That's one. Second, when you're trying to make a tackle low and you have a history of concussions, anything that hits your head can cause a concussion. It may not even be the person that you're trying to tackle. You may be an innocent bystander, and somebody else who's coming to make a tackle needs you in the head. Do not attempt that tackle again.
You fall down in a funny way. Concussions are interesting. Tua Tagovailoa, although everyone else seems to know to protect yourself, Tua, it's almost like he has something to prove. He's trying too hard. Let the game come to you and play smart. Don't tackle with your head. Don't lead with your head. Oh, man. But all's well that ends well. And it was neither a spectacular day. Neither team put on an offensive showcase. Dolphins did finish with 23 points, and the Rams did have a lot of was dink and dunk, and given what the defense takes you. And is that what we're seeing a lot now in the NFL? Teams are just saying, you're not going to get a big play. You're not going to beat me deep. We're going to play too deep, and we're going to let you get these little dinks and dunks, and we're going to hope for you to make a mistake. The old Bill Arnsbarger way of doing things. The more plays they have, the more chances they have to make mistakes. I don't know. Not the most fantastic day for Tua. 20 for 28, 207 yards. He did have that one touchdown to Tyreek Hill, but he had an interception and a fumble. I do not know what he was thinking on neither the interception or the fumble.
And another thing, bro, listen, and then to be fair, I said the offensive line played okay. They may get criticized, and when they watch the film, they may get criticized because of some of the sacks, but Tua had time.
Tua had a lot of time.
Stop going backwards.
Tua had a lot of time tonight. He
throw the freaking ball away.
I will say this. I was sitting there and I told you, Vlad, he has really held on to the ball tonight. He has been somewhat hesitant. He doesn't seem very confident and sure in making quick moves. I also went back and looked at the coverage. Coverage was pretty good by the Rams tonight. Some of the times I could see why Tua was holding on so deep.
Throw the ball away.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If there's nobody there, don't try. And Tua still has that mentality, I think. And I think part of it is the injuries. It's the concussions. Part of it is the paycheck. He feels as though he has
it doesn't kick in until next season.
But still, he has to prove something. That's why he wanted to get back from IR so bad. And that's why he's been so salty lately. You don't have to prove anything, Tua. We saw this team without you. We saw how this team plays without you, or how lack thereof they play without you. We want you as our quarterback. We understand now. Just go out and do your thing. Today, he did his thing. He did enough to win. Like I said, nothing really jumped off the page as far as stats or even plays. I guess, what was the most exciting offensive play you saw from the Dolphins today? Was it the Jonnu Smith catch and run that almost got into the end zone?
Yeah, and then maybe the first play to Waddle.
First play, that was fool's gold, by the way, because Waddle.
Actually, the best play was the Malik Washington touchdown.
That was true, the end around. But I still like Jonnu Smith's catch and run. And he, broke a couple tackles and almost got darn near into the end zone. I got very excited for him. It was enough. It was simple. It was good. It was great. This team does not have the same explosive plays that they had last year, which is okay. Teams are playing a different. Mike McDaniel, there's more of a book on you, and the league's just different now.
And now they tweeting. They're texting in on the chat. On the chat. I'm not saying that he's soft. It's not about being soft. It's about being smart.
Yeah.
Bro.
Okay. So if you have a bad knee, Vlad, don't you go about in your regular day about not exposing your knee to things that could possibly hurt it?
I mean, yes. There are ways to tackle. They show you how to tackle. Like, don't go low. That's not good because you're leaving yourself susceptible. I'm not, mind you, I wasn't talking about him offensively because I thought today that there were a couple of plays where he looked like he wanted to run. thought about it and just got the ball, dumped the ball off, which was smart. Just on an interception, especially when you become the defender, have your head on a swivel, but do not go low. Do not, because it usually doesn't end well.
Yeah. And like I said, we really want to celebrate. Of course, we're gonna break down everything that kind of went on. Jason Sanders made his field goals. Tua was good enough. I didn't think he was great. He made some, pardon the pun, boneheaded plays. Put himself in danger a little bit. Offense doesn't look super great. The defense looks fantastic. Can't say enough about Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell. The past 2 games from the Dolphins, it's been the defense that has kind of let us down, giving up 32, of course, Josh Allen and a very good Bills team, and 28 to another team that's surprisingly better than we thought they were, 28 points to the Cardinals. Those 2 games, no Zach Sealer. Is Zach Sealer that big of a difference?
Yes, he is, especially since you don't have 94 anymore. He's coming, well, hopefully he is. I don't know if his health situation, but
he has played the past couple games.
Okay, so then he's coming back since you let
he has 2 sacks and 17 tackles on the season.
Also
I told you I'm following his stats because
and he's
all
also
the people
been banged up.
pay that. I know, but what I'm saying, well, he'd have been banged up here probably.
You could have gotten cheap, but you could have gotten him for the cheap. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. It worked out for everybody. Hopefully, it definitely worked out for Christian.
Keeping receipts,
but nonetheless, with Christian going to Vegas and Van Ginkel going to Minnesota, you needed a guy like the guy, and Zach was the guy. You gave him the money, and he stepped up, and you see the difference that he's made. Like you saw how he was before the injury. He missed a couple of games. You saw how the defense was. He comes back, and the defense started looking like the defense that was keeping you in games, even though you lost them, but keeping you in games for the offense just to make a play. And that was how you saw the importance of Tua. So yes, Tua is the most important player on the offense, and Zach Sealer might be the most important player on the defense. And when you have those guys together and you're finally starting to get the team healthy, they haven't given up. They saw how well they played. Like, say what you want, but you don't really get, nobody's going to give you any medals or props for losing, but they did play well in those losses. Like in the Buffalo game, penalty. Just simple things. Just if you can just erase those little mistakes.
Little sloppy plays. Yeah, sloppiness.
And what happened today? There was sloppiness.
They were sloppy.
What happened was
sloppy.
The minute the offense made a mistake, the defense found a way to equalize that mistake and not make it a factor. And what I will always say, the biggest play of this game was a 10-point turnaround. They missed that field goal because of false start. Missed field goal. What do Dolphins do? That good teams do. You capitalize on others' mistakes.
Score a touchdown. Stick the dagger a little bit deeper. I'm not going to say it was a masterpiece on defense for Anthony Weaver and this defense, but it was a fine piece of work. Fine piece of work. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Don from Miami.
Don, what's going on?
Let's see here. We beat another bad team tonight. I'll take the W, but does anybody think we can get more than 8 wins?
Really? You think this is a bad team? You think the Rams are a bad team?
They have no defense, and they don't have any kind of rushing offense. All they have is a pass, and we actually have a pretty good defense against the pass, and it allowed our defense to tee off on their quarterback. So we made it even look better, our defense tonight, which I give them a lot of credit. We won the game, but I don't think we beat a good team, and that's the problem. We still can't beat a good team.
Hey, hold on. Let me ask you this: are you a good team?
Am I a good team?
Oh, yeah.
Are
the Dolphins a good team?
No.
Okay, then. So how are you going to clown on them for beating a team that they're not good if their records are saying is worse than theirs? So I would accept this victory and look at it as a positive. Because if you looked at it, they might have not been a great team, but they were a team that's 4-4 and on a 3-game winning streak, while the Dolphins were on the 3-game losing streak. And
but I'm looking at the big picture, not just one night.
What are you talking about, man? You might as well I ain't trying to hear that. I'm sorry, I dropped the call. You might as well take it 1 week at a time here, because that's what the Dolphins got to do. They did not give they gave themselves no room for error. So it's 1 week at a time, and it was the first time that you saw the defense and the offense, because the offense did score when they had opportunities to score. You know, they scored 23 points. They've been averaging 27 points since Tua's been back. So they weren't really far off from what they've been averaging. Take away some of the mistakes, that drop pass by Jalen Waddle, that field goal turns into 4 points right there. Dolphins scored 27 points, but that was a great job by the defense.
Yeah, what Donald's saying is he's worried that the Dolphins are doing kind of what they may have done last year, is beating up on teams that are maybe lesser than them. But if they face anybody that is maybe somewhat better than them, they don't find ways to do things, like the Bills, like possibly the Cardinals. But I hate to break it to you, they lost to some bad teams too. The Colts, I don't think, are a good team. The Patriots aren't a good team. The Titans definitely aren't a good team. Seahawks aren't looking.
Hey, guess what, Dan? You know what?
But
there's only a couple of good, really great teams in the NFL right now.
Well, that's what we get caught up in sometimes. It's like, well, we don't ever beat any of the top tier teams. Well, that's because they're top tier teams. And when I say we, all fan bases do this. It's not just the Dolphins fan base.
And other than Buffalo, what top tier team has the Dolphins faced?
Cardinals lead their division. Of course, they're leading the Rams and teams like that. But yeah, no, I understand. You play games ahead of you. I don't. From what I saw last night, the Rams.
What I'm gonna hate about this fan base right now. I'm gonna tell you why. Dolphins are gonna win the next 2 in a row. They'll be 5-6.
There you go.
And half the fan base are gonna be excited, looking at the positive. The team is gaining momentum and has a chance. And there's gonna be another great part of the fan base that's like, well, we won 3 games against mediocre teams that haven't with bad records. And it's like, what do you want? Do you want them to lose?
Yeah. Well, what Donald's saying, and I know some Dolphins fans are saying that right now. Oh, goodness, we beat the Rams. They don't believe the Rams are a good team. And then we're going to beat up on the Raiders and the Patriots that aren't the best teams. But then we're going to go into the Packers, who are a good team, and we're going to lose. That's what they're saying. Like, yeah, you're winning games, but you're not beating these high-quality opponents, which to me...
But then when I'm looking at some of these high-quality opponents, they're not the same high-quality opponents that they were last year. Or maybe they haven't hit their stride as of yet. That's the problem that I've looked at. If we really want to break this down, it's a little deeper than this. It's the fact that maybe the fact that they don't play really during the preseason has affected a lot of teams, because they start off the gate 1-3, or 2-2, or 2-4, whatever, and they don't leave themselves any room for error. Now they got to play under pressure. And when they finally do get it together, it might be a little too late. But if they do get it together, support it. Like, it happens like that. A lot of Super Bowl teams in the past have not been teams that were great in the beginning of the season and caught fire towards the end.
No,
but I'm not talking like Super Bowl. Just take it 1 week at a time.
But I've noticed
and
this.
Just stack up the wins.
We found it funny in the preseason as the Dolphins didn't play a lot of their guys and didn't show a lot. And we saw Kansas City in game 1 of the preseason was starting Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all their starters. We said, why are they doing this? They're Super Bowl champions. Buffalo Bills doing the same thing. Vlad, why are they doing this? Maybe they're onto something. Maybe they're like, wait a second. We're realizing that.
But did Tua sign by that time?
Was Tua signed by that time? Was he signed by that time? Yeah, because he came into camp. He sat in on camp and was signed. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe these teams are saying, instead of having week 1 or week 2 of the regular season being like our preseason where we're trying to get things together, maybe we are going to play our guys a little more in the preseason.
It can go, you know what? We could break this. Like I said, it could go, like I said, it's a little deeper, and we could break it down how teams utilize, their training camp to get themselves ready.
I don't care about
But what I'm saying is this, though. But injuries did happen to this team. Forget the Tua injury. Now you're hearing Tyreek's been playing with an injury that might affect some. I mean, it's affecting him.
They say he's had the worst year of his career.
He's had the worst year of his career.
Statistically, it's not been good for him.
The defense, the secondary, Holland's playing on one leg, but they're starting to get healthy.
And they're starting to come together, starting to gel.
There hasn't been no dissension within the locker room or anything like that, even though that it can happen with the way they're losing. But if you look at the way they've lost the last couple of games, they had leads and they lost. They've had leads and they've lost.
Tonight they were just the better
little
team.
mistakes. Today they were just the better team
But
from the beginning.
Getting back to what Donald says, it is frustrating, even sometimes in a win, and you should celebrate every win because these are all pro teams and can win on any given Sunday. You look back to last year, how many playoff teams did they beat? Dallas, Christmas Eve, and Dallas wasn't all that great. This year, how many quote unquote playoff teams have they defeated? Really nobody. And you're scared if you're a Dolphins fan. And I'm just telling you this, Vlad. You're scared if you're a Dolphins fan. You're saying, oh, you feel good about beating the Rams. You might even go on a win streak right now and beat the Raiders and the Patriots. What's going to happen Thanksgiving night at Green Bay? We're back to where we were last year.
You know what I'm going to say?
You can't beat playoff
You know what I'm going
teams.
to say? Wow. I can't believe that I'm going to this Packer game and this game actually means something. Because guess what? I don't know about you guys, but I was really thinking of not watching any of these Thanksgiving games because most of them were going to look were basura. Okay, but now there's a good opportunity. Now, if the Dolphins win 2 in a row and they go into Green Bay and they go against a team that they can beat if they play well.
Yeah, but this is a fan base that was told by their owner, Stephen Ross, live on TV, we're contending for a Super Bowl this year. We are a Super Bowl caliber team. They want to see some gains outside of beating up on the Raiders and the Patriots.
First 10 weeks of the season, they have not looked like a Super Bowl team.
I'm just trying to explain the frustration that some of these fans are feeling. Be happy tonight. You beat
That's it, right? Exactly.
And if you ask me, gun to my head, are the Rams a good team? They're good enough. Yes, they are a pretty good team. They had a bad start to the season because, lo and behold, they were very unhealthy. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get talented. They're starting to gel.
And they won 3 in a row.
And it sounds just like a team that you saw them play against, the Miami Dolphins. They're talented. They're getting healthier. They're starting to gel. Should you expect more wins? Yes. Am I punting on the season? No, because once again, you never know what's going to happen. Look what Brian Flores did a couple of years back. Almost darn at the end of the season, ran the table, won like 7 of 8 games. I'm not saying that's outside the realm of possibility. You've got Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Odell Beckham Jr. You've got Devon Achane. You got Raheem Mostert. You got Mike McDaniel calling plays, whether you like Mike McDaniel's play calling or not. And oh yeah, by the way, you saw some bad men on defense tonight. And that defense, if it plays like that, it'll travel anywhere. Hot, cold, England, Germany, Mexico City, wherever you want to send it. We got to win. Oh yeah, by the way, for everyone that says, oh, you have to go all the way out to the left coast and we're terrible in primetime games, that's over. We'll see. We got all night. We're going till 5 a.m., Vlad. Let's do this. No, we're going till 1:30. This is Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
Text WQAM.
Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Not the most impressive night from QB1, but good enough. There were some spots where he shined. There were some other spots where he didn't shine. But Vlad, we need to put a spotlight on some stuff that Tua is doing. His ball control, our ball safety, or whatever you want to call it, is extremely questionable. That fumble,
It's ridiculous.
he had the ball like out, away from his body, a couple times away from his body. The interception was, I don't know what he was doing.
Why do you know what? Here's another something I don't understand, Cousin. With quarterbacks, man. I know they're trying to avoid the pocket. This is not only about Tua. This is all quarterback. Why do they go backwards? Why? Why?
It's a fast game.
No. Throw the damn ball away. Get out.
It's a fast game.
Get out of the pocket so that when you throw the ball away, it's not a loss of down, right? But stop going backwards, because when you're going backwards, the ball is loose. It's not like the ball is near you. The ball is loose. So if somebody tackles you, it's easy for the ball to pop out. And it's happened too much. It's too much with them. And it's anyway. It's a snap. It's when he's running out of the pocket, escaping pressure. I don't know what it is, but he's been leading the league in fumbles for like too long as a quarterback.
His ball protection is questionable at best. He had that fumble where I don't know why he had the ball all the way away from his body. He threw the bad interception, but he compounded that by trying to make a tackle with his head and got kicked in the head, by the way. He's lucky he didn't get a concussion again and get pulled out again in prime time. He plays very cavalier. And I think it's one of those things, Vlad, where he's trying to make up for mistakes or trying to hustle. And it goes back his whole career. Started at Alabama. They're up 31-0. It's not even halftime yet. He's trying to make a play for some reason when they're up 31-0 against Mississippi State and breaks his hip. And all the other plays where he's getting concussed. Earlier this year against Buffalo, instead of going down when he has a first down, leads with his head, gets a concussion. Last night, throws an interception, tries to make a tackle with his head. So, Vlad, if you had a dislocated shoulder, what would be the last part of your body you would use to try to make a tackle? It's not being soft. It's not being scared. It's being smart. Would you, if you had a dislocated shoulder that was recovering and you were in the game, try to lead with your shoulder? In what world does that make sense? It's what he did tonight. And once again, we should be celebrating. We're celebrating. What a great game. The defense was fantastic. Zach Sealer, such a great story, by the way. Was living in an RV with his wife. He said, he had to just live out of the RV because he never knew where he was going to be living next. Got cut from the Ravens a couple times, landed here in Miami. And for all the people last year that said, you'll see Zach Sealer, he's a fraud. He was held up by Christian Wilkins. Well, maybe he's getting held up by Calais Campbell. But no, Zach Sealer is a real. Okay, if you're one of those people arguing, you could do that. But he has a great 1-2 punch with him and Christian Wilkins. He's a great 1-2 punch with he and Calais Campbell. This defense tonight, of course, Jalen Ramsey, like we said, having an all-pro season has been fantastic. But Tua Tagovailoa, he is the engine that makes this machine run. And he spoke with the media afterwards. Guessing he was in a pretty good mood. Tua Tagovailoa, we are praying that you stay healthy because this offense is much, much better. We are also praying that you are smart with your football playing. He leads the team to a 23-15 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. Not cause for concern that he didn't look exactly sharp today. He kind of held the ball a little bit. He took some sacks. No cause for concern for that. He popped up. Cause for concern, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill haven't had a lot of yards and a lot of receptions this year, and the offense hasn't clicked like it did last year. I don't know. So they've scored points. They won tonight. I think that's enough for now. Although Tyreek Hill, it is interesting. I mean, I know he's kind of dealing with the hand issue, but 3 receptions for 16 yards. Uh, why am I so frustrated every time I look at Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's numbers? Is it because I just want them to go for 150 yards each like they did last year, it seemed like?
Maybe.
Yeah, but you
That
know what? Doesn't matter.
What do you mean don't matter?
Got the win tonight.
Yeah, that's all that
23-15.
matters, bro.
Just happy about it. I didn't think Tua, nor did I think that Matthew Stafford blew up the stat sheet either.
No, this was a game that if you thought it might have been a high scoring game, and it wasn't. It was it was under. The total was 48.5, and it was under, and the Rams were favored by 2.5, so the Dolphins covered pretty easily. But the great job by the Dolphins defense was not only they committed turnovers, which it was something I said that I thought that they would have been. Remember after the first preseason game, I thought that was going to be their thing, that they would be able to commit and force turnovers because of the guys that they had in the linebackers in the secondary, and they've been able to do that of the last 3 weeks, at least in the Buffalo game. They forced the turnover, I believe. They get it from Ramsey got a turnover, the interception on.
Oh yeah, he got that turnover where the guy dropped the pass and he pulled it in. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that stopped them from points. Like I always thought they have a bend but not break defense.
They definitely do have a bend but don't break, but that's perfect.
But in games like this, it's all right because they were keeping them out of the end zone. They got to the red zone, but they kept them out of the end zone.
Tonight, this was the type of defensive performance, of course, you want every night, but the team finally seemed to get to the quarterback, get good pressure. Chop Robinson, Calais Campbell, Zach Sealer, Javon Holland got in on there. You got to the quarterback and you got turnovers. And that's the thing the defense was kind of missing out on. I felt as though that we weren't getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. And even though the quarterbacks weren't very good, some of them we played, but they weren't getting any turnovers. And you saw how that really kind of handicapped us. Tonight, though, the defense played great. And the bend but don't break, by the way, they gave up 6 points in the second quarter, 9 points in the fourth quarter. That's it. Nothing in the first, nothing in the third. Bunch of field goals here and there, a smattering of field goals. And in the NFL, Vlad, if you trade field goals for touchdowns, not going to be good for you at the end of the day. That's why you get 23-15 Miami Dolphins win over the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know why I want to say the Los Angeles Dodgers, maybe because it's 12 o'clock at night. Up next, we're going to take a look at the stat sheet here. And of course, later on, we'll hear from Mike McDaniel on Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
Hi, so WQAM FM 99.9 HD2 and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Gameday Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins by JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
If you'd have told me before the season started at the midway point, this Dolphins team, after all I saw last year, would be a running, defensive-minded team, I'd tell you, nah, ain't no way, no way. But team seems to be dedicated to the run as much as they can. Tonight they got away from it a little bit, but the defense tonight was fantastic. The defense, the star of the show, the defense has been really good, minus the last two games. Buffalo had a little something to do with that. So did Arizona. Also, Zach Sealer being out had something to do with that. Tonight, though, bend but don't break and pretty lights out, giving up 5 field goals, and that is it. And not a lot of big plays, not a lot of, even if you were a Rams fan, plays where you could be like, all right, let's get moving. It was a whole lot of just frustration, it seemed like, on their part. And
it wasn't a pretty game to watch
for neither team. I will say that, but it
wasn't a good game for the fringe fans. If you're trying to put people on, no. But
pretty defense from the Dolphins.
I will say this though, shout out to you Dolphin fans because you guys get ripped for this. So I'm giving you love for this. But it sounded that there were quite a few Fin fans out there at SoFi. I heard a good contingent of Dolphin cheers when they made some good plays out there. So I know LA is a destination that people like to go to the stadium. They're going to be hosting the Super Bowl, not this following year, but in 26, and it's very easy to get tickets there sometimes. But on a Monday night, Veterans Day weekend, they went out there and they gave the team support because the fans, the Dolphins did not look like they were affected by the stadium or the fans, the Rams fans whatsoever. You heard a lot of Dolphins fans cheering. So good win, man. Good road win against a team that's won 3 in a row, that's battling in their division. And
they have a lot of weapons too.
And you're on the 3-game losing streak. And literally you can't really, if you lose this, your season's really pretty much over.
They had some good defense too that we were playing up against.
Who?
That Jared Verse, he was a player.
Verse was busting Teron Armstead's ass. Man.
Christian Roseboom, he was a nasty one too. He got the interception, almost picked off Tua twice.
And that's the thing. It's the game of inches, right? The game, like, the little plays. The Dolphins, when there was a deflection, they got the interceptions. Rams had 4 deflections, and they only got 1 interception out of. No, they didn't even get an interception. The one that Tua threw, the guy just made a hell of a play on that. He just dove in and got that.
Roseboom.
Roseboom. But the other, they had 4 deflections and did not jeopardize the Dolphins or, hurt the Dolphins whatsoever.
Unlike Calais Campbell's deflection that ended up being an interception.
Yeah. So
Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer were given Matthew Stafford fits. You could see he was not, when I say frustrated, just couldn't get any real good momentum going. And those guys are a big load. Big, tall guys that get in the passing lanes and get after the quarterback, and it really helped them kind of throw off this highly powered Rams offense. And if you look at the defense, you say, seems like that's exactly what they want to do every single game. A little bend, but don't break. Just don't let this team get moving. Tua Tagovailoa, he was good enough tonight. 20 for 28, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Christian Roseboom made a good play. The fumble was not very nice. That was not nice. Can't defend that.
The fumble and then the sack that took them out of the field goal range.
Couple sacks, yeah. Running game, absolutely nothing. Well, no, there was something to write home about. That Malik Washington end around for 18 yards in the first touchdown of the game. That was a pretty play. Outside of that, not too much. Devon Achane, 12 carries for 37 yards. Tyreek Hill had 2 carries for 11 yards. Jalen Wright.
I don't know if they didn't really put a concerted effort to the running game. I think they could have ran the ball, but I don't know. It was weird. I think they really felt comfortable after that. You know what it was? That first drive, that opening drive, how it was well scripted and it worked. It was so effective, that I don't know if they just felt like they just wanted to keep on doing that, because the next drives after that, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same.
I don't know. I thought Mike McDaniel had a pretty nice groove going throughout, especially towards the third and fourth quarter. I liked the play calling. I thought it was moving and it was intermediate passes, but some runs mixed in there, maybe a shot here and there.
But the reason why it was good, but look where they were starting from.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that
from where they were
something to do with
starting
it.
from, but I'm talking about the ones where there wasn't, a turnover or a sack or turnover on downs or missed field goals or whatever. I'm talking about some of the early drives early in the game. After that first drive, the offense didn't look effective. I would just say it didn't look effective, and I didn't understand why, because they could have ran the ball. I think they could have ran the ball, but they saw something that they wanted to.
They saw something they liked.
Yeah, that they wanted to manipulate, and early on, especially that first drive, good, but then after a while, they were leaving themselves open because that line was getting to Tua a lot.
Yeah, and once again, the thing with Tua is I did notice that their coverage was good. Their coverage was good, but Tua did not seem as, what would be the word? Not confident, but as decisive and as quick as he usually would be with it. Seemed like he was a little more delayed and a little more hesitant and a little more holding the ball a little longer in the pocket, which led to some sacks, which once again, anytime Tua gets hit on a prime time with the whole world watching, you take a deep breath, and he's the quickest to pop up, if you notice that also.
He better.
Yeah, he better. Don't make us wait. The receiving was okay. Jalen Waddle caught that big pass to begin the game. He did lead all receivers in yards, 3 receptions, 57 yards. But man, what looms in your mind is that drop that he had on third down early in the game. That drop was inexcusable. Even the announcers go, "Oh, I thought that got tipped."
Yeah, no,
Joe
Buck thought the safety made a play, and it was he just ran right through his hands, and then they started making fun of maybe he's gonna do the CD lamps, blame it on the sunlight.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He said
he blamed it on the lights.
On the lights.
Okay. Jesus.
Jonnu Smith, in my opinion, had the most exciting catch of the game. Almost got a touchdown on it. Got us onto the 1-yard line. Jonnu Smith, 3 catches, 45 yards. Raheem Mostert had that big catch. Remember when we got backed up after the Tua sack? I think it was 3rd and I want to say 15 or 20, and they got 25 yards.
Well, they got, and they also were going to get the first down because of the fact that
that's true.
The penalty, they held Jonnu Smith
as
well.
There was a penalty, yes. Odell Beckham Jr.,
big third down catch.
Huge, man. 2 catches, 17 yards.
Boy, if you took the 13.5 over that you guys were talking back on the Game Day Uncensored pregame,
nailed that one.
That was easy. That was easy money right there.
But that was a big third down. Tua trying to get bailed out. Odell Beckham Jr. just gets to the open space, turns around, keeps the drive going. They get into field goal position. They get their 23rd point on that field goal. And like I said, I knew that when we were up 20-12, any point that we could score, whether it be 2, 3, 7, 8, whatever, would end the game. I just knew the defense was that locked, or I felt the defense was that locked in. Malik Washington, I guess it's his best game as a pro. He had the big run. He had a big catch, 1 catch, though, for 17 yards. Tyreek Hill, 3 receptions, 16 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill gets in the end zone for the 2nd time this year. Devon Achane, 5 receptions for 15 yards. And Durham Smythe, the other tight end, 1 reception for 6 yards. Julian Hill was targeted.
How much Waddle had?
Jalen Waddle had 3 receptions for 57 yards. Remember, he had the opening catch, and then he had the other play that kind of broke down, and the defense let him go, and he got behind the defense, and then he had another catch, and then he got the sunlight or whatever in his eyes, and he dropped that pass. But, overall, do what you got to do. Matthew Stafford, 32 for 46 for 293 yards, and that interception on that tip from Zach Sealer. The running game.
No touchdowns, though.
Nope, no touchdowns. No touchdowns at all in this game for the Rams.
And here's the other thing. This is why, knowing where Anthony Weaver came from, the Baltimore Ravens, their defense is the type of defense that when his team has the lead, they can hunt. And they were hunting after Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, they really threw him off.
Yeah.
That front line was great. Kyron Williams, 15 carries for 62 yards. Blake Corum, they gave him a couple runs, 2 to be exact. 8 yards. Matthew Stafford, 1 carry, no yards. His over-under was half a yard, Vlad. Did you take the under?
Nah. If I did, I would have won.
The vaunted receiving core of the LA Rams.
Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua, 9 receptions, 98 yards. He runs his routes very well, though. You can see why he's so successful.
But he dropped the pass.
He did. Cooper Kupp, he made a couple of really nice catches, too, that kept drives alive.
6 catches.
7 receptions for 80 yards. And then it kind of falls off from there. Davis Allen, he dropped one, too. 5 receptions, 34 yards. Tyler Johnson, 3 receptions, 25 yards. And then you get Demarcus Robinson, 1 reception, 23 yards. Kyron Williams, who seems to be a pretty good receiver, but he's kind of got to share receptions with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams had 5 receptions, 20 yards. Blake Curran, 1 reception, 7 yards. Tutu Atwell, 1 reception for 6 yards. Not much to write home about if you're the Los Angeles Rams. 5 field goals. That's not going to get it done, as the Miami Dolphins threw up 3 field goals and 2 touchdowns.
Hey, man, give Jason Sanders credit. We rip him when he misses, but he was 3 for 3, hit 2 50-yarders.
50-yarder.
And basically, that was the key. That was the difference in the game. His 3 field goals.
We really thought, and in every game, if you pay enough attention, you could find that little tipping point, Vlad. And we found the tipping point in the game where we felt, the Dolphins got this. It was when the Rams in the third quarter had a chance to kick the field goal and make the score. What was the score?
It would have been 10-9.
It would have been 10-9.
It was 10-6, and it would have been 10-9 if they hit the 53-yarder, and then they got the penalty.
They got the false start.
It was a 52-yarder, and then it became a 57. Wide right, Dolphins score. That's the Tyreek touchdown, I believe.
Yep.
And that went from what would have been a 10-9 game in momentum because you scored two. And that was another thing. You said this during halftime when we were watching this. You said that the fact that we both thought that them getting the field goal, hitting that 55-yarder right before the end of the half, and they getting the ball back to start the second half, they have the time to do the adjustments, was critical. So we thought, you said they can't let them score. And I'm like, well, they could let them score a field goal. Can't let them score a touchdown because that would really take the momentum. And look what happened. They did score a field goal taken away because of the penalty. They missed the field goal. Dolphins turn around, score a touchdown, and what would have been a 10-9 game ended up becoming a 17-6 game. And they were playing from a distance all night long after that, all game long. And Dolphins defense, while they did bend that sometimes, did not break, did not allow them into the end zone.
And that's, like I say, always in the craziest games. Sometimes it just comes down to 1 or 2 little plays, 1 or 2 little things.
That was it.
Different
I said it. I said, "Oh, that's it. That's a 10 point." Like, there's nothing worse in football. Hey, dude, this is something with the Dolphins. Maybe this might be a key. This might be a trend. They did that with Jacksonville, first game of the season. Remember?
Javon Holland punch.
ATN fumbles. Holland punches the ball out of ATN. Who recovers it? Was it Kuhu?
Kuhu.
Kuhu. And then what happened? Next play, Tyreek Hill, 75-yard touchdown or 80-yard touchdown. Boom. That was a 14-point turnaround.
14-point swing.
And what ended up happening? They lost by 3 points. The Jaguars. And look what happened.
I worried when they made that field goal at halftime. I said, well, that's not a field goal that you can try to counter because they were getting the ball back in the second half. And I said, Vlad, they can't come down and score points because now it's all of a sudden all the momentum.
They just scored on back-to-back drives.
Touchdown would have been disastrous.
They would have gotten the lead.
Right. But instead they made a field goal, but they made a bonehead play with a false start, missed a field goal, and then lo and behold, any pro team is going to come for the jugular, score a touchdown, kind of set yourself up at that point. Now the defense can really pin their ears back and get after you. That right there was the critical play of the game. And up next, Vlad and I are going to give you our JM Lexus player of the game here on Game Day Uncensored, 560 WQAM.
Time for more Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Some pundits thought tonight was going to be a shootout in the wild, wild west. I mean, you got to think about it. Tua Tagovailoa, he led the league in passing last year. Tyreek Hill, the only receiver to ever go back-to-back seasons with 1,700 yards. Jalen Waddle, 1,000 yards every single year that he has played in this league. You got Jonnu Smith, you got Devon Achane, you got Raheem Mostert, and that's just on the Dolphins side of the ball. On the other side of the ball for the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua. You also have Cooper Kupp. You got all these weapons. It could be a high-scoring game. Both defenses, they didn't like that. Both defenses played pretty good. Hence the score, 23-15. But the Dolphins' defense was just beautiful tonight, allowing just field goals. And at times, it seemed like Matthew Stafford just was living to fight another day. Sometimes he threw the ball to nobody, threw the ball into the ground, looked around. Oh, man, no huge plays. Nobody got behind the defense. It was a defensive battle. And you know what? That's kind of the MO of this Dolphins team, at least for right now. They haven't had the shootout games that we've all thought the Dolphins were going to have this year. Most shootout game we've had, I would say, is the last one we had against Buffalo, 30-27. Other than that, been lower scoring affairs. Now, sometimes it's the opponent. Sometimes it's just the Dolphins not being that competitive because they have their fifth string quarterback. And I know they don't have their fifth string quarterback, but that's the joke that Vlad and I make because they're literally got guys off of other teams' practice squads. If you want to say the Cardinals and the Dolphins 28-27 was a shootout, I don't know. I wouldn't say it was exactly.
Whoa. See, this is where it happens. Remember the games when the nasty quarterback the display was happening of quarterback 2, 3, 4. The defense was holding you into games, but you guys couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. So the fact that when Tua did come, when QB1 did come, and you did score 27 points, but you did lose games, though.
Yeah, 28.
So right, but the AFC is not
not as advertised.
Greatly pointed out. It's not as advertised. I know firsthand the team that I love stinks. So therefore, when you look at your team and you're thinking, okay, look, as bad as the Dolphins have played, that this win, they're only one game out of the loss column for the final wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And with the losses that happened this weekend with other teams that were ahead of you, Denver lost, right? The Broncos lost.
Yes,
Who else lost? Cincinnati, a team that, that was also there.
What a game.
Indianapolis lost.
Yes.
You start winning games, lo and behold, you look at it, you're in the favorite thing. Listen, there's one thing you want to be in December when they start looking in the playoffs. Meaningful games. But in the NFL, meaningful games are it's called in the hunt. You want to be in that in the hunt section. When you're looking at the playoffs, you want to be in the hunt. If you're not in the division and you don't have any wild card, you're not leading the wild card, you want to be in the hunt. A game within a game or so of being in a wild card spot. That means you still have something to play for. We're at the halfway point of the season. The team is 3-6. They have winnable games coming up. 1 week at a time. Can't take nothing for granted. Because you didn't give yourself the cushion, to suffer a losing streak. You've suffered your losing streak early. You're playing right now. Every game you have to win. One loss really could set you back. So therefore, just stack them up. One win at a time. Don't matter how you win, just win.
Well, I'll say this. The defense plays like it did tonight. You're going to be in the hunt every single game for the rest of the year because that was a great performance. And now it is time for the JM Lexus Player of the Game. At JM Lexus, it's the perfect time to catch the deal you've been waiting for. As the Golden Opportunity sales event continues, don't miss your opportunity to score even more now at JM Lexus. My game ball is going to the man that returned with the visor, one Zach Sealer. How much do I love this guy? Number one, His play on the field says it all. He returns tonight, and the defense all of a sudden looks like the defense it looked like when we needed them to be a really good defense. He was fantastic right away when he comes back. He and Calais Campbell are a dynamic duo, knocking down balls, getting sacks, making a difference, making Matthew Stafford uncomfortable. And you got to love Zach Sealer because, like I said, there was a narrative that he was just piggybacking off of Christian Wilkins. There was a narrative that he's been cut a couple times from the Ravens and he's not that good. He's just big. There's no more narrative of that. Zach Sealer actually probably got him at a discount last year when we signed him. He is the heart and soul of this defense. Calais Campbell's told us all preseason long. He is our leader on defense. He is that guy. He is really good. And now we are seeing it. So proud of Zach Sealer. He and Calais Campbell just bring lunch pails to work every single day. They have not let up a play all season long. Calais Campbell is 38 years old. He's played 17 seasons, was expected to, kind of platoon in and out. He's been nonstop, but I'm giving it to Zach Sealer because his return made an instant difference, and this defense looked absolutely fantastic. Vlad, who is your JM Lexus player of the game?
Calais Campbell.
That's what I'm talking about. See, we're a 1-2 punch. They're a 1-2 punch. Tell me why Calais Campbell is if I don't already know why he's your JM Lexus player of the game.
From the beginning of the game, man. He
First
set
play.
the tone. He deflected balls, got pressure. He got a sack on Matthew Stafford, deflected 2 passes. Just was a leader, certified leader out there, man. He was happy. You saw him smiling, and he's 38 years old,
he's taking jumpers.
Dude, taking jumpers, but he was 38 years old, playing more snaps than we thought he would be playing at this part of the season, and he's still bringing it, and it was infectious, man. It was an infectious feeling, and the team just played. They followed the leader. They followed their leaders. They followed Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer, and the defense had fun. You know what it looked like? It looked like when you meet up with all your friends the first day of school and you're like, it was like that. It was like, oh man, Sealer's back. Oh man, we got our boy back, man. Let's have some fun. And they did. They had a good game. Or everybody, all 3 levels.
Lo and behold, your team's starting to gel. The captain of the offense comes back and is playing decent. The captain of the defense comes back and is playing well. Lo and behold, your team starts playing pretty good. Interesting how that works out, Vlad. Interesting how that works out.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, isn't it odd? The Dolphins are playing better now that they've got their captains on both the offense and defense back, and both of those captains are playing well.
Okay, it's 1 week. Let's stack it up.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But is it a
up.
coincidence? I think not.
It's not. Let's stack it up. It'll be more and more if it becomes one time.
It
just one time.
Gives you hope. It gives you hope.
Well, guess what? When you're on a losing streak, a win is always going to give you hope. It's like I said, it's like going on an 0 for 38 slump. You just need one.
Hey,
doesn't matter how you get that hit. Just get the hit. Whether it's a bunt single or a triple, you just need to get that hit.
I don't want to know how many more games the Dolphins probably should win to make a playoff. All I want to know is if they're going to beat the Raiders next week. It's 1-0 mentality from here on out for me. I can't look any further
They can't take
ahead.
them for granted. They're going to be favored, and everybody's going to expect them to win. I think the crowd, after a win like this, I think it should be packed at Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, they sold out of all the season
but
tickets.
it shouldn't. But I've been at the game, so
You'll be at the game. You'll give us a report for that.
So it should be packed, and then you win. Now you're 4-6, 2 games. Now you're 2 games under 500, 4-6 with 7 games to go. With 7 games to go, and you got games that are winnable, and some of the games that seem like it might be a tougher game is not.
But like
that 49er home game, it's not a tough game.
They had some problems with the Buccaneers this
right.
past
Like
weekend.
that's what I'm saying. That Texans game on the road is not a difficult game.
They gave away a game against the Lions last night.
After forcing 5 turnovers, they still lost the game.
Matthew Stafford had 4 turnovers going into the game. He had 5 last night. Goodness gracious. But like I said, if this defense plays like they did tonight, they're in every single game because that defense was just nasty and it was super good. And also, let's give some kudos to Chop Robinson. His 2nd sack of the season. He got to Matthew Stafford early. Lo and behold, we live in this age, Vlad, where we want everything instantaneous. We want it now. We want Chop Robinson to come in game 1 against Jacksonville, get 3 sacks and block passes and be the best defensive player because he's our 1st-round pick. We got to remember Jalen Phillips. Remember that first rookie season about midway through? We were like, we drafted nobody. He's not doing anything. And lo and behold, he got his NFL legs under him. He got a little bit of experience, and he got a lot better. We need to give these guys time to adjust to the NFL, and Chop Robinson is doing that.
And you're right, but here's the problem, Cousin. When your team is losing, it doesn't give you that much time. That time has to speed up quicker, because if you're 6-2 and they're slumping, you can make excuses and say they're coming along, they're getting their you see, over the past couple of weeks or 3 weeks, he's picking up the game. If they're 6-2, or if they're 6-3, we're like, oh man, can't wait when he finally gets it all together. He's gonna get more snaps. But when you're 3-6, it's gonna be like, oh no, what's going on? We need this first round pick to deliver. What's going on? That's all it is. This is a win and loss. This is a win and loss league, bro. Your record says what you are. And as much as we know they're talented, we know they're good. They lost the games that they could have won or they should have won. They used to win. They didn't. So when you can't, you're looking for all the reasons why. You're looking for anything. What's going on? Who's not performing at the rate that they were? And a lot of guys weren't performing at the rate that they were. They weren't.
Chop Robinson getting his NFL legs under him, though.
Right, but that's the thing. Here's the problem. Chop Robinson's not doing well, but the guy that was picked two selections before him was having impact with the Rams.
Right.
And you saw that.
Yeah,
and you saw that firsthand experience today. Jared Verse could have been a Dolphin if the Rams didn't get him 2 selections ahead. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the selections the Rams have made over the last 3 years.
They were showing the draft, man.
Right.
God, they got a department over there, man.
Right. They're getting guys late in rounds, undrafted free agents, while the Dolphins while the Dolphins could be using, if they drafted well, or we're getting good, signing undrafted free agents that could add depth to this team, because that's the thing. The team is very top heavy.
Not too much shade. Cam Smith did not look great again tonight. Didn't look terrible, but did not look good again tonight. And even Troy Aikman and them were like, they should go after him. It's like, okay, hey.
Oh, what about when what's his name got hurt? When
Kader Kohou? Was it Kader?
No. Fuller. The minute Fuller got hurt, they went
Fuller.
after what's his name? The safety, 35. Silva? Is that his name? I forgot. They converted like a 24-yard play, and they just they got him out immediately.
Ain't no shame in this league, man.
Man, they looking for your weakness, man. They looking for any weakness, man. Oh, you new? You're coming in right now?
Kader Kohou had the funnier moment of the night where he kind of got into it, and he got a wet willy from
that was dude.
Cameras caught it big time too. It was like, it wasn't even like, in the corner of the screen. Kader Kohou was talking noise to everybody, and they put one of the players put up. I want to say it was
it was
Rams
Neil.
running back.
I think it was Neil. His name was
Kyron
Neil.
Williams?
Saran Neal was when
Saran Neal got. That's when they got cooked.
That's when I got cooked by when Fuller got hurt.
He was actually played with Buffalo for a while.
I know.
Saran
Neal. But dude, that was hysterical. Kyron
Williams put that
wet willy in his ear. What did I came into? I was like, because what we did, we decided to watch the game from 2 different rooms, so we didn't have to share our opinions. So we waited for the post game. But when I saw that, I came to was like, now you're getting Willie. Now they getting Willie. Now they getting Willie. That's enough.
Sportsmanlike.
No, I would have thought it. Listen, you can't get Willie on national TV.
You can't do that. That's got to be unsportsmanlike.
No, that's a man. Come on, man. That's a man.
That's showing someone up, and
he's got a family.
That's directly showing someone.
You can't wet Willie anymore.
Throw the flag. Yeah, come on.
No,
man.
you can't be wet Willie anymore.
That stuff could have happened right
I'm disgusted by that.
And then Bobby Brown for the Rams. I love that name, Bobby Brown.
By the way, every time Bobby Brown did a great play, I was like, well, it's his prerogative.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And
but then he did that personal foul. I was like, oh, Bobby, why are you so cruel?
So Liam Eichenberg did kind of dirty punch Bobby Brown.
But Bobby got cruel.
Bobby turned around. Yeah, Bobby got cruel.
Got cruel. You shouldn't be cruel. Don't be.
He headbutted Liam Eichenberg, and Liam Eichenberg, of course.
He sold it. Oh man, it was like he got headbutted by Jacob Fatu.
I thought he had whiplash, man. What great Jimmy Snuka, man.
Oh man, like Haku just headbutted him. He just went down.
Every time they said Bobby Brown, I kept waiting, hoping, praying, just some way.
They would have like
Bobby Brown III, son of.
Oh, bro. Dude, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of Bobby Browns. Like, they must really love that name, because I know it ain't Bobby Brown from New Edition.
Edition and solo Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston.
You know,
but I like that. That guy Bobby Brown was good too. I'm not talking about
this. No, there was a lot. The Rams have a lot of great talent. The 2 players from Florida State, Verse and I think Frisk.
Yeah.
What's his name? Rosebloom, you said?
Yes, Rose Boom.
Rose Boom.
That's a cool name. Rozeboom. Rose Boom.
Rose Boom. Sounds like a linebacker.
Long brown hair.
Yeah, but the offense were able to move the ball when they needed to. And they capitalized on the mistakes, and the special teams was there, and the defense was there, and it was a good 23-15 victory.
Chop Robinson's got his new sack celebration too.
What is that? The hammer?
He does the chop.
Oh, that's a chop. That just looks. That don't look like a chop.
That was a chop. So we got the waddle, we got the chop.
Oh, jeez.
Calais Campbell's hitting fading step back threes.
I don't want to hit 6'8" ass fading away.
Zach Steeler does some weird celebrations. It's just like he's like a bear, man. Just do what you do, man. Look, I'm happy for you. Do your thing, man.
He's a bear.
It really is, man. I mean,
He's a bear.
He's a bear. You know what I mean? That right there. Time for the JM. That is the JM Lexus player of the game at JM Lexus. It's the perfect time to catch the deal you've been waiting for as the Golden Opportunity sales event continues. Don't miss your opportunity to score even more now at JM Lexus. Next, we're going to go around and just kind of recap the scores and some of the thoughts from the week that was. Oh, by the way, Dolphins saved the state of Florida. Every single football team in the state, college, pro, even soccer team, professionally, like I said, college pro, because NIL lost for the first time ever. Lost. Miami was the only saving grace, and they came through tonight. Thank you, Mike McDaniel, for saving our state. Mm-hmm. Scoreboard next, 560 WQAM.
Text WQ.
There's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed anytime. Get it now and make WQAM your favorite station.
For more Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Dolphins do get a big win tonight. Some people say it saved their season. Well, the defense and the offense click like it did tonight, especially the defense. Season could be pretty interesting. 23-15 over what I consider a pretty decent and good LA Rams team. The Dolphins are now 3-6 and staying alive, as they say, for that 7th playoff spot. One game at a time, though. We get the Raiders next week, 1 o'clock, Hard Rock Stadium. Pre-game, 9 o'clock right here on 560 WQAM. And the post-game will run from around 4 till 7:30. Let's get a recap on the scores that happened earlier this week, week 10 of the NFL, and kind of just give you our thoughts on things. The Ravens, in a classic, defeat the Bengals 35-34. I really thought the Bengals were going to win that game and get their season on track. They are 4-6 now, but man, huge nights from Joe Burrow and of course Jamar Chase, the LSU connection. I had both on my fantasy team. Needless to say, Vlad, that week was
you won?
My week was won after Thursday.
I was I had the unfortunate, I have Jamar Chase on one team and I was going against him in another league.
I had 50 some odd points between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. After Thursday, I think I had like 85 points.
There's no way you had only 85 points.
I might have had 95.
You might have had 100. Jamar Chase was 50 to 60 points in certain leagues.
I think I finished this week with 167 points.
Whatever league you're in, they're really tight on points.
I had 160 something points.
Wait, he had 430. Didn't he have over 400 yards?
No, Jamar Chase.
No, I'm talking about Burrow.
Joe Burrow was 35 for 56, 428 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that should give you at least 40 to 50, like 45 points.
I didn't even look. I was.
You probably didn't look. You probably had 110 points after that.
Jamar Chase, 11 receptions, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. That game was fantastic. I was hoping the Bengals would win, but what are you going to do? Now, on the opposite end, an absolutely terrible game. Hopefully you didn't make the trip to Germany to see the Panthers defeat the New York Giants 20-17. Daniel Jones is in trouble because he is absolutely basura, as we say here in South Florida. 22 for 37, 190 yards, and 2 interceptions. Bryce Young, not much better. 15 for 25, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Ugh. But don't look now. Panthers' first 2-game win streak since 2021, Vlad. That's their first win streak since 2021. Last I checked, it's the end of 2024.
Hey, man. Listen, they sat the kid. Baby. They sat the kid. The kids won 2 in a row now.
Hey, look, I'm all for Bryce Young being decent because, I mean, Panthers, Saints are in the same division, so I can't love him, but I have no problem with Bryce Young. I think that he's kind of gotten a bad rap. Give him a little bit of time. Like, maybe give Chop Robinson a little bit of time. Things will be okay. The Bears, ever since they gave up that Hail Mary to the Washington Commanders, they have not been the same. The Patriots put it on the Bears 19-3. Now you're saying, ooh, first overall pick versus third overall pick. How'd they do? Caleb Williams, 16 for 30 with 120 yards. Drake May, 15 for 25, 184 yards, 1 touchdown.
I'm gonna say something.
Interception.
I like Drake May, man. He's got chutzpah.
He does seem to have that attitude.
He's got chutzpah, man. He's got a fight in him though. You gotta love him. He might do some crazy things, but he might do some crazy athletic things as well.
49ers and Buccaneers. 49ers almost killed each other a couple times in this game.
What's going on with the infighting, man? What's going on with Debo? Debo needs to calm down.
Debo's having a kind of rough season himself.
His ass about to get traded. That's why.
So Jake Moody misses 3 field goals, and his long snapper, who used to play for right here in Miami, stood up for him because, I mean, Debo, well, how are you going to beat up on the kicker? And there was some choking going on. There's some craziness going on. But all's well that ends well because old Moody made the field goal at the end to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He won 23-20. Oh, that infight is nasty. Chiefs, Broncos. I really thought the Broncos had the Chiefs right where they wanted them. Broncos led most of the game. They get down, kick a 35-yard field goal to win the game. but the Chiefs block it, and the Chiefs win 16-14. I'm going to ask you, Vlad, you're not a Dolphins fan, but as a Dolphins fan, should you be just a little nervous the Chiefs are 9-0? And I know that they have the least amount of point spread.
Are you giving me out of 1 to 10?
Out of 1 to 10, how nervous are you as a Dolphins fan about the Kansas City Chiefs?
If I was a Dolphin fan, I'll be 2.
I'm at 5.
I'll be 2.
I'm just scared. I'm a worry
Every
wart.
game that it gets to, it goes up.
It's the closest margin of victory for any 9-0 team ever.
But they haven't hit double digits yet.
They've walked off the past 3 games.
Once they get, like next week when they get the double digits, now you start thinking about it.
Oh, by the way, they get Buffalo next week, 4 o'clock. Only 4 o'clock game. You think anybody's going to be watching?
Really? It's the only 4 o'clock game?
Only 4 o'clock game next week.
I got to look at this because this is some NFL. I mean, everybody was just gonna watch it, but this is some like NFL.
I was lied to. It's the only 4:25 game. There's 2 4 o'clock games.
Okay.
Thanks, Hawk and Crowder. Way to give me the facts, guys. On the Hawk and Crowder show, they're like, yeah, but it's the only 4 o'clock afternoon game. It's the only 4:35.
It's the only 4:25 game.
There's 2 4:05 games.
Yeah, there's no way there's not a West Coast game going on somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna have to fact check Hawk and Crowder from now on. Goodness gracious. The Bills, they look like the Bills against the Colts, by the way. Joe Burrow, I'm not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's fantastic. Joe Flacco, throws a pick 6 on the first play of the game.
It's time to go home to your kids, man. Might be time to go home to the wife and kids.
The bloom's starting to fall off a little bit for Joe Flacco, and, but they're still in playoff hunt. I think they're still in the 7th spot. They're being chased by the Dolphins, and they do have the tiebreaker. We do know that. The Steelers, are the Steelers for real? I mean, they beat the Commanders 28-27.
All right, so my friends and I,
bad call at the end of the game, right, Vlad?
We have this thing. I didn't see the end of the game, but we have this thing where when it's time, like when a person's washed, we give them like I know it's wrong, but we give them a funeral. And a couple of years ago, we gave Russell Wilson a funeral, and now we might have. Now this guy's doing some Undertaker stuff right now, and all of a sudden now we might have to take that back because he's really played very well with the Steelers team and getting the ball to the receivers, and their offense looks a little bit better with him than it did with Justin Fields.
It's amazing what Mike Tomlin can do. A coach that builds you up and plays to your strengths. Amazing. All of a sudden, rebirth in a career, it seems like. Mike Tomlin.
How did that end, by the way? I didn't see the final play.
It looked like the Commanders were driving. It was the Commanders were about midfield, and it was a 4th down, and the guy caught it right before the first down line. It looked to me like the Commanders guy got over the line. They said he didn't. That's a turnover on downs.
That play. Okay, I did see that.
Steelers get the ball. Then
that was tough. That's a tough one, man. That was tough because I don't know if the guy because looked like his arm was right on the line, but that red line is not the official
right.
First down
that's not
marker.
The official first down marker. But I don't know, man. In a game like that. Are the Vikings a phony 7-2 or are they a real 7-2?
Yeah, phony 7-2.
They barely beat the Jacksonville Jaguars with Mac Jones.
The real Sam Darnold showing up.
Sam Darnold, 24 for 38, 241 yards and 3 interceptions. He decided to throw at the other team 3 times.
I never seen the games yesterday where the winning quarterback was as bad as the losing quarterback.
Yeah. This isn't a Jacksonville Jaguars team with Trevor Lawrence. This is with Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Who?
Mac Jones.
111 yards, 2 interceptions.
I don't think even if Trevor Lawrence was there, I think he still would have lost.
Yeah, but still, the Vikings can only hang 12-7 on the Mac Jones Jaguars.
I don't know, man.
But there is no fake records in the NFL. It's just if you're a Vikings fan, you're not peacocking too much at that 7-2. You know what I'm saying?
But I'd rather be 7-2.
Yeah, I would rather be
2-7.
I'd rather be a phony 7-2 than a hard 2-7 any day. Saints, lo and behold, they fire the coach. They put in what's the name, Rizzi or whatever, who used to be a special teams coach here in Miami. He's a madman. He's clogging up toilets here in Miami.
This was such an easy game to predict.
Yeah, because every year the Saints and the Falcons split the series, and
they split the series, and anytime a coach gets fired,
the team rallies around
always
him.
For that new coach the first game, except for Jeff Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff Saturday. That was a tough situation, bro. So the Saints beat the Falcons 20-17. This was an easy one to predict too. The Chargers defeat the Titans 27-17. The Titans are just absolutely trash. Cardinals, I did not see them steamrolling your Jets, Vlad, but I did see them winning, but they steamrolled them 31-6.
Oh, it's official. We stink.
You're going with that? Okay, cool.
It's official.
The Eagles They look like they're actually a pretty darn good team. I've been giving the Eagles a little bit of
We
help.
just hate their coach, but they're such a talented team.
34-6 over the Cowboys. That's in Big D. Can Dallas petition to play all their games away from home for the rest of the season? They seem to be better away than they are at home. And what was, I'm going to say, the game of the week, the Lions and the Texans last night. The Lions just could not figure it out. Jared Goff looked like he barely played Pop Warner football for most of the game, threw 5 interceptions. But all of a sudden, the Lions are just tough, man. Come back, defeat the Texans 26-3. Interesting story, Vlad. We're doing the Heat game, and Steven Gonzalez, one of the new employees here at the radio station, starts live betting on the Lions. And the more and more the Lions get down, the more and more he continues to chase his terrible weekend with live bets on the Lions. And I said, stop it.
No, he won.
You're going to ruin your life. Jared Goff has 5 interceptions, and the Lions look dead in the water.
And he won his money back.
And then I go home and take a shower, and I have a huge, massive text messages from him. Lions never give up. And I said, did the Lions come back and win that game?
They did.
A last-second field goal, and barely a last-second field goal. They get it at the very end of the game. Jake Bates, 52-yard field goal, winner,
Jake
chicken
Bates,
dinner.
those 2 field goals he hit is literally that would be the dramatization of skinny ass or the skinny your teeth.
Yeah, I was like, tight ass.
But it's really but a skinny ass. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, oh my God. Like, that's a punt here.
Oh, yeah. What are we looking forward to next week? Thursday night football. I'll be at Duffy's Implantation. You know me, Vlad. You're invited. Let's go. Eagles and Commanders. It's a pretty good game right there.
Yeah, it is. They had last week and this week. I think they've had some back-to-back good. Well, last week was definite, but this week can possibly be just as good.
See if the Commanders are for real or the Eagles are for real. 2 teams that people still have questions.
Well, it's a battle for first place in the NFC East. So winner will have the first place.
Some other games of note, of course, we do have Dolphins Raiders. That is going to be at 1:00. I care because it's the Saints and the Browns. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute miserable game. You don't care because you punted on the season. The Jets and the Colts, also a miserable game. But,
not even on the season. I'm just going to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it. Sometimes you got to enjoy, grease fire, man.
Yeah, that's true. Bengals Chargers going to be your Sunday night game. That's pretty interesting there.
That's the game that flexed out Jets Colts, and that definitely gonna be interesting because even though you think they're out of it because of what happened this past weekend with other teams losing, the Bengals are still in this.
Oh yeah, and that they get hot. And they already seem to kind of warming up the coals.
If their defense can stop a cold, much as if they can do something where they can contain other teams, that offense is really on fire right now, and they're doing that without even T. Higgins.
Right, T. Higgins not playing, no problem.
That's gonna be an interesting game.
And of course, the one we're saving, the one that pretty much everyone's going to be watching: Chiefs Bills Sunday 4:25. The narrative has been the past couple of years the Bills can whoop up on the Chiefs during the regular season, but when the games count, it's all Chiefs. So will that continue? If you're a Bills fan, do you take solace in the win? I guess it feels good, but the main thing is that you want to win the one that counts, not the one that doesn't count.
This means nothing for the Bills.
It means nothing for the Chiefs either, or the Bills.
Although
I'd like to see the Bills win.
I'm sorry, this means nothing for the Chiefs.
It means nothing for either team, to be honest with you.
It does for the Bills.
I would like to see the Bills win for the simple fact that it would knock the Chiefs off, and I could open up my funky saison.
What's their record? What's the Bills' record? 7-2 or 7-3?
The Bills are. I thought they were 8-2. Am I right?
They might be 8-2.
If I could ever get a Bills, I can't get anything right.
I know they lost to the Ravens, and I know they lost to the Texans.
I know they beat us twice. That's for sure.
And they beat us.
The Bills are 8-2. Yes, they beat the Colts.
All right, so here's the thing. This is why the important games for the Bills.
Oh, they need that home field advantage.
There you go.
They're trying to
win. You get the Chiefs the first loss, and you got to figure now that they lost one game, they might be due to lose another one. And if they lose, you both have the same record. You have the tiebreaker advantage over them, and now they might have to come to Orchard Park, which they did last year and beat you. So it's not. Come on, man.
Still, you need every advantage you can get.
You've never had a home field for the whole AFC. You've never had that, so you have a chance to do that.
Once again, Patrick Mahomes comes home every day, or let's say every Sunday night after a long day at the office, doesn't really care about the scores. The only score he checks. Who's the only score Patrick Mahomes checks? How did the Bengals do? Why are you asking? I don't know. How did the Bengals do? Ooh, they're currently not a playoff team. It's interesting.
Beat the Bengals already.
Only team that can keep Patrick Mahomes up.
Already beat them already.
Doesn't matter. That's regular season, baby.
They beat them in the AFC Championship.
But the Bengals the only team that scares Patrick Mahomes.
And Tom Brady. That's it.
Well, Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady ain't coming back. I'm sorry for everyone that keeps talking Tom Brady.
Nobody's afraid. Patrick Mahomes not afraid of the Bengals. They beat them, but hey.
Barely. They got outplayed in that game too, by the way, by the Bengals. But I'm just saying, Patrick Mahomes comes home. Brittany, what's going on? What you cooking? What we got? How'd the Bengals do? I was just wondering.
He's not afraid of him. He ain't afraid of no man.
Okay.
Except for Brady, and he retired.
Okay. Believe that. Brady got him once. Lucky. That was a lucky playoff win. The Super Bowl.
Greatest performance by a quarterback in a loss I've ever seen in my life.
Because he had all the stats. He was the only player healthy playing.
No.
Literally.
By Mahomes?
Yeah, Mahomes had nothing.
Dude, he was running for his life the whole game, and he was throwing passes 80 yards downfield, and it was right in guys' hands. Dropping them, hitting their faces. I'm like, what's going on? That's what happens when you don't have no tackles.
It's probably the crowd noise that got to him.
Oh, it was in Tampa. In the COVID.
Without like 20% capacity. Oh, man. We're going to hear from Mike McDaniel. Speaking of nonsense, we're going to hear from Mike McDaniel, a celebratory Mike McDaniel next. And we're going to wrap up the show, taking you to about 1:30 for Vladimir Lewis on I Am Day and Day. Coming back for one more Game Day Uncensored segment on 560 WQAM. Dolphins get a big win against the LA Rams, keep their season hopes alive to make the playoffs. Lo and behold, what a difference a game makes. Got to give credit to Mike McDaniel, especially Anthony Weaver. They had themselves a game plan, score some points, and only give up a couple of field goals to that LA Rams team that had some high-powered offensive weapons. After the game, Mike McDaniel asked about the star of the show, the defense.
The whole team, and I think our defense really galvanized the whole team, and I think it's a very, very difficult to keep that offense out of the end zone. And I think it might have been like the second time Matt Stafford with the Rams had not had a touchdown, or they hadn't scored a touchdown offensively. That's difficult to do. I think the jump off point was third downs. I thought the coaching staff led by Weave did a great job with having a way to attack the guys, and I thought collectively it was the best execution of what we were trying to get done. So it was a very, very important game for our team, just to be on the heels of 3 losses, 2 on the final moments of the game. And I think that's something that we can build upon moving forward.
When you get a guy like Zach Sealer back and he makes a play like when he made the first defensive play of the game, I know you said that the defense really galvanized the team as a whole, but that play specifically, what do you think it did for momentum?
No, I think you go through the week, you're correcting some stuff from the previous game, and I think the guys felt a lot of confidence in terms of where they were building, and then getting a couple guys, key guys back. I think that was a very effective reminder of, hey, we've been doing this without a couple guys, and Sealer is such an important part of what we do. So it was absolutely a momentum capturing moment where guys were fired up to have one of the most important pieces of the unit back on the field and making plays immediately.
Two other defensive players, 2 just stone-cold veterans. You got Jalen Ramsey, Blaze Campbell, 2 gentlemen I have the pleasure of talking to tonight. At this portion of the season, trying to get to where you're trying to get to, what does it feel like as a head coach? Now you have 2 guys like that on the other side of the ball that can, they're locker room guys. They perform on the field. They do everything the right way. What does it feel like just to have those 2 guys at this portion of the season going into the gut of an NFL season?
Well, it's monumental for me to have those teammates, where you can lean on those guys to understand what needs to be done, and to help. The best leadership that exists is within the locker room. So the quality of players, where the things they've done and continue to do in their careers, the teammates can't help but listen and follow suit, so that when you talk about the standard of how you go into a game where your record, you may feel as though it doesn't indicate the quality of the team. It's so important for guys, for the team to be able to execute and show that if they feel that way. So you really need veteran players to really guide you through the adversity in the NFL season, and I think that's paramount. I think that was on display tonight, for us.
Coming back from those first half turnovers, and did you have to tell them something about not using your head, shoulder, make a tackle?
No, I think the best way to do that is not to throw it to the opponent. These are the moments that I can feel the growth from the 3 years the most, is where something doesn't go well, or something Tua gets so mad at himself and holds himself to a high standard, but he's also recognizing that he's, the franchise quarterback of this team. So you can't go too deep into your own self-lashing. You have to lead and you have to move on from things, good or bad. So I thought he did a very good job of taking those L's, so to speak, and not having it affect his play as he progressed and moved forward through the game. So I was very happy with that. I would prefer not to have the adversity, but that's not really the case in NFL football. You have to be ready to pick yourself back up and go at it with gusto.
Jalen earlier talked about communication and how effective it was tonight, seeing guys be able to communicate, know where they're supposed to be and whatnot. How pleased were you about the communication on the field tonight versus the last couple of weeks that you guys have?
Well, it's something that's paramount to to playing defense together the way we'd like to. It's something that has been one of the lead things of focus, since we've got here, and it was a huge part we felt that had been responsible for some of the negative plays that we've been having. So that's all you ever want as a coach is to have your position coaches and coordinators emphasize the right stuff, and then players follow through with the execution of those points of emphasis. So very, very important, especially when you're playing a good team. That's something that we are skilled at doing, and I look forward to guys latching onto that and moving forward. Best assessing and attacking opponents by emphasizing and then executing, which is what that was tonight.
Was it with Tyreek with the wrist that I guess the team decided last night that he could go and just see him score that touchdown?
No, it's he's a warrior. He's captain of this team, and as good as it gets in this league that's full of star players. So it didn't necessarily surprise his teammates, I don't think, based upon his relationship with them and what he means to the team. So it was you don't know how a person's body is going to respond, but all things equal, Tyreek Hill wills himself to do things that most competitors can't match. So it's one of the reasons that he's great.
For a season, your teams have never had a losing record. You're digging yourselves out of a hole like this. Do you consider yourself confident that what you guys have established as a program, as an organization, is good enough to get you out? Or is it more hopeful that that'll happen? How would you describe kind of that?
I would say that you have firm belief and from that you don't just create out of thin air. You base it upon the teammates that you have and the type of football you think you're capable of playing. And I think with anyone, you don't have the expected, or you don't have the results that you're kind of striving for. I think you maintain your confidence by taking hard looks at everything you're doing and critically assessing everything you do. What that does is it ends up giving you more conviction in everything you're doing because you've combed it more. I think that's something that is across the board, been very prevalent with this team all season. So I think it's nice that the team has shown it as opposed to just talked about it, and I think everyone's very confident because they've been working hard at getting it right. So you feel that much more convicted and invested in all of it.
Kendall Fuller, the second concussion in the same season. Cater Coven's a quick evaluation he's able to go back in?
We'll take a look at Kendall for sure. That's obviously not ideal in any way, shape, or form. So the most important thing is that we get all the feedback from the experts and make sure that his health is okay, and so that timeline will be open ended for sure as that goes. And then Cater, had a knee-to-knee situation that definitely spooked him. Fortunately, our training staff assessed that there was no looseness or issues with the knee, so he was able to go back in. He's a big part of our defense, and I think one of the reasons why we had an effort that we felt like was more to our standard.
Mike McDaniel basically saying that defense was something special tonight. I did not agree with him saying that Tua Tagovailoa, minimized the damage that he did by not making it any worse. When you try to tackle somebody with your head and get kicked in the head when you have a concussion history, that's not always great. Also, him saying Tyreek Hill wills himself through everything, I also agree with that. Mike McDaniel, happy after the game. The defense, of course, the star of the show. Just look at this, Vlad. On third downs, the LA Rams, 3 for 12. 3 for 12 on third down. That means you're getting them off the field. That means your defense is effective. It was a bend but don't break. Seemed like whenever the Rams got anywhere in the red zone, they just totally floundered. That's why they had 5 field goals and the Dolphins win at 23-15. We get ready for years ago when you and I were young children, Vlad, another LA team for the Dolphins. Of course, they've since been twice removed from Los Angeles, but I still consider them the LA Raiders. Not really. The Las Vegas Raiders, they are coming to town for a second year in a row. Remember last year, that was Jalen Ramsey's big 2-interception game, his big return, his big showing out party. Happy to have him there. Happy to have him tonight. He defeats his old team, the Los Angeles Rams. Odell Beckham Jr. has a big catch against his former team, the Los Angeles Rams, on a critical third down as the team drove and got a field goal to get their 23rd point and eventually win 23-15. Calais Campbell continues to amaze. He's like a fine wine, just gets better with age. Zach Sealer, welcome back. First play on defense. He has his presence felt. The defense is great. Anthony Weaver does his job tonight. The offense, good enough. Final score, 23-15. We get ready for the Raiders. That is a 1 o'clock kick, Hard Rock Stadium, pregame 9 o'clock. And Vlad is going to be at the game, so he'll be checking in with us. We're going to start at 4 o'clock for the postgame right here on 560 WQAM.
No, we won't.
We're not?
No.
Okay, no postgame.
We still pending. It might be a postgame. We just don't know when.
All right, just hit us up at Dan Day Radio, at Vlad2078. We got to get ready for today. In just a couple of hours, I'm going to be hosting the Joe Rose Show along with Hollywood, Danny Rabinowitz.
Look at you, man. Marathon, man.
6 o'clock. And then, Vlad, you're going to be taking over after me. You're going to be on at 10 o'clock for the Tobin and Leroy Show.
Yes, I am.
So just follow us on social media at Dan Day Radio. And feel good, Miami. So many weeks, I tell you, I didn't want to come on here and be upset. I didn't want to be mad, but this team does it to me. Tonight, I am not only like saying that I'm happy, they made me feel good. It was smooth. It was easy. It was like old times. So let's do it again next week against the Raiders, Dolphins. And then we'll take it from there. One game at a time. That's the way we're approaching the rest of the season, at least on Game Day Uncensored. For my cousin Vladimir Lewisson, I am Dan Day. Dolphins win. This has been on 560 WQAM. Later, slug.
WQAM on the Kendall Toyota text line at 3055.